All right. A very good evening to everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. All right. So, welcome to Ivy's bootcamp for the month of June. And my name is Ishani. I'm one of the directors and trainers at Ivy. And in this particular series that we conduct every month, we try to touch upon something new that's going on in the industry and try to, make you understand that why it's a good thing to learn these type of tools or get a knowledge of these tools. So if you have not already subscribed or liked the channel, please do so that you keep on getting such content in your user. So today's topic that I've picked is using Python in Excel. Now, I have been a Excel user for about 24 years now, and it's not that Python came recently into Excel. Python came a long time back in Excel also. However, I could not understand that why should I move to Python in Excel when I have tools like Power Query to clean up my data, do a lot of things. I have VBA knowledge, coding knowledge to do a lot of things in Excel and automate it. But recently, I thought, I'll spend some time, though I'm not a user of Python. I took a lot of help from ChatGPT and one of my team member who knows Python very well. And I was trying to see, okay, where I can actually use Python to reduce my work in Excel. So I came up with 8 use cases, like you can see. The first one was data profile, something that is kind of missing in Excel. Excel does not give us understanding of what is a profile or the quality of our data. And mm, 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 mm. So it does not give us the understanding of profile of our data. What are the columns? What is the min and max? What is the count of the numbers if they're missing values? So that takes a lot of time by using filters, by using functions to find it out. And once you found it out, how to clean that missing value data, that is again a process that we have to do, right? Then second example I've taken is dates. Dates being something that anyone and everyone types in whatever format they want. Some of the date formats that we talk about at Ivy in the classes also are still manageable by Excel. But recently I came across a date which I tried everything that I had in Excel and I could not clean it in a nice and easy way. But in Python, it was a very small code that I had to write, a one-line short code, and it cleaned it beautifully. So I was impressed, and that's what said, okay, let's see what more can I get from Excel and Python. Then things like cleaning of the data. Now, if there are multiple cleaning required on one column, Excel again, in Excel again, you have to build, you should know the functions. Plus, you build that many number of columns in order to clean. Then on that top of that, you're doing something else. On top of that, you're doing something else. So we end up making many columns and then doing a copy paste. If there is a way that I can do it in one shot, very nice. Now, lot of data, when you are in the industry, you will see a lot of people record the data in a matrix format. Means there are certain headers in the column and certain headers in the row. And when we want to work with such data with tools like either Power Query or even loading the data back in SAP, we have a lot of problem. And that's where unpivoting of the data comes handy. So I don't have to really go back in my Power Query to do it anymore because in one short code of Python, I can unpivot my data and work with it. Um, the fifth one is we all work with VLOOKUPs, right? And I was thinking VLOOKUP is not that bad. I can still do VLOOKUP without Python, but the ability for a Python code to pick all the columns, like if I had to bring multiple columns from one table to another table, if I'm bringing 3 columns from one table to another table, I am writing 3 times VLOOKUP formula or 1 time formula and just copy pasting, and still it's an effort that I'm putting. Versus using a command called merge in Python, I can bring all the data together, and it gives me an ability to kind of work like a left join and a right join very easily. So I wouldn't want to cover that. Plus, if I wanted to delete certain rows which are empty, there's no way I can fill in because I don't have that kind of data, or there are more than 30% missing values. So I want to get rid of the data. So how to delete it with Python? And then visualization. Excel has a lot of nice visualizations that is already there, but there are some visualizations I was experimenting with. For example, a word cloud that I typically use in Power BI and make it. But over here, we can create it histogram with a line. These are called the vertical scatters. I forgot the name. Then the correlations and the violin chart. I'm not too sure you should be using all of the fancier charts in the dashboard, but it was fun to experiment and see what all is the capability of Python, which we are missing in our Excel. So let's get started. So the sheet has been shared to you by Pratyush, and this has all the data set that I will be working with. And let's get started of how do you start with a Python code? How do you write a Python code in Excel? Now, this is only a capability when you have 365 Excel, Office 365, then you can write Python over here, Python codes over here. So whenever we want to write a Python code in an Excel cell, the way to do it is we put equal to, we write py and press tab, and that's where we can write the codes. Either you can write the codes over here, or on the top, this formula bar, we can write all the codes in this bar as well. So first thing we are going to do is try to create something called a data frame. Data frame is nothing but just assigning a variable to your table of Excel, and then you can access any column and you can work with it very easily using the variable. So the way to do it is, and this I've created as a table. Okay, so you can see there's a table design and the table name is table one. So if I wanted the table one to be stored in a data frame, we write py and we give the most commonly used in Python world, the variable df. And either you can select the table manually like this, right? And it will write the entire code for you. So it has written df equal to Excel to explain that this is an Excel database. Table one is the name of my table. All means it's picking all the headers and the values, and the headers are there. Headers equal to true. And when you want to execute the code, we don't press enter. To execute a code, we press control enter. Why not an enter? Because when you press enter, it takes you to the next line of code. So if I wanted to continue writing a code of Python, I press enter. But to execute a code of Python in Excel, we have to press control and enter. So as soon as I press control and enter, let's go up. What it has done, it has created something called a data frame. And now if I want to refer to this particular data frame, I can use the variable called df, right? So first thing, like I said, what I miss in Excel is its ability to talk to me or tell me, okay, what are the columns that are there? Or just not, I don't want to copy, I don't want to transpose, I don't want to do that. So how can I get to know which are the columns? So again, we write py. Every time we have to start with equal to py. And if I write df dot columns, right? That's it. Press control and enter. df dot columns, its work is to give me the name of the columns that are there. Now, since we are using Python in Excel, all its output is a Python output. And that's why we are not able to see it like py index. That's not the name of the column. So how do I convert this Python output into an Excel cell? So to do that, we do right click. You will see over here, we have got something called a Python output. And I don't want a Python object, but an Excel value. When I click over here, it is going to give me the name of my column. So I know these are the columns that I have, right? Simple command df.columns gives you all the headers in a particular column. So it tells you, okay, these are the columns that the data has. Okay. Now, if I wanted to understand, okay, what is the quality of my data? How many values are there? What is the min? What is the max? What's the standard deviation? Okay. How many, anything that can you, what we say, describe the data. So in order to describe the data, like the word I've used, that's exactly the command that's there. So if I put df.describe, right? And I press, you have to put a bracket over here and press Control and Enter. Now you will see it has again given me a data frame. Data frame is a table. We will right click, output, Excel value. And over here, we got the entire thing that there is a column called date, price, units, cost of goods sold, sales, gross profit. Number of rows 189, all are same, so there is no missing value basically in this. This is the mean value for all. This is a minimum. This is a 25% quartile, 50%, 75% in case you want to go ahead and find some outlier calculations. This is the max value and this is a standard deviation. Now I don't know if you noticed the number of columns that I have originally is about 10. The number of columns that I got in described are 6. So the only column which are numerical in nature got picked in describe, because kind of makes sense when you say mean or you're saying standard deviation or 25%, 50%, it can be done on numbers and not the categorical data. But in case I want the entire description, I want the numbers, I want the categorical data, everything to be shown, then again we use py df dot describe. And now what you're going to say is we are going to put include as a keyword equal to, and we will put all. And you will see that Python kind of prompts you also. So it's not that you have to remember everything by heart. It kind of helps you, it prompts you to say, okay, this is what can be done. So again, when I press Control and Enter, it is giving me a data frame. Let's see the output. And now let's see what it is going to give us. Now it is giving us all the everything. All right. So it is telling me that they are, what is the count? 189. There are 5 unique values in it. There are 8 unique values, 14. So I know there are 5 regions in my data, 8 sales rep, 14 customers, 10 different products that are there. Now this might not work for the number, makes sense. And there are certain things which works for numbers and would not work for the categorical data. So this method of dot describes helps me to get entire understanding of my table in one shot in a form of a table. So before I move on, how many of you are actually working with me? I'm see, don't ma'am explain in deep, not understand. Okay. See, first of all, you have to understand one thing that there is nothing called non-technical and technical. When you are in data science, it is a lot to do with your understanding of the data and business, and not only tools and coding. So I have been a coder for a lot of years now. However, I don't know Python. I told you guys, I don't know Python. The reason I touched Python was because few things that I was trying to do, and I asked GPT, okay, how can I do it? And I forgot to give the tool, or I said, okay, make it shorter. So it kind of prompted me to lean towards Python. And that's what made me see, okay, what else is a capability? So don't worry about your non-technical, technical skills. These are okay. Now I'll explain you once again what these are. And even if I would say, even if in Excel it's not working, it's a good knowledge to have. There is something out there which I can use is very important rather than not knowing that there is a possibility. So even if you're not able to practice, I'm going to send you a PDF with all the codes in it and an explanation of each line what it does. You guys have this data set with you. You can easily practice whenever you get an opportunity. Okay. Yes. So what we did, I'll show you the code over here. I had kept all the examples with the code showing up. So first thing we did, we said we are declaring our table. Now why we do that? Because it becomes easier to write the codes, right? So everywhere I did not have to say Excel table one all header equal to true and then write the code in front. So once we created a data frame, I just named it as a variable called df, and everywhere I referred that variable over there, right? That's the first thing we did. Second, we use this thing called df.columns. What is the work of df.columns? Very simple. It just gives you the name of the columns or the headers that you have. Nothing more than that. So rather than scrolling from left to right or copying and then putting transpose and then looking, okay, what all data I have, this specifically helps me when I work on a consulting job and people ask me to create a dashboard. And they already have given me some requirements, but I still need to understand the data very well. So first thing I do is I try to see, okay, what are the columns that are there, which ones I need, which ones I don't, for the requirement of my work. So this really helped me to get that output faster. Second thing is dot describe. What dot describe does is gives you a profiling of your columns, which are numerical data, not the categorical, not the text, the numerical data. Again, this is something I used to typically do in Power BI. In Power Query, you have something called Power column quality, you have something called column profile. So instead of even going back end, and if I'm not going to work on Power BI or a Power Query, I can still do it in Excel now using dot describe. Okay, so far so good. How to write PY codes? How to write PY codes is by using the equal to sign. Anytime you're writing a function, there's like a PY function that we're using. Write PY, press tab. So now it opens like an editor of Python in which you can write the codes. Clear? Ritika? Okay. Then if I wanted for all the data means numerical and categorical data. Then what we do, we write dot describe and in bracket we put include equal to all. Now I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, do I need to remember all the codes? Answer is no. Thanks to all the AI that we have right now. And trust me, a lot of things that you're going to see in today's workshop is something I used a lot of chat GPT. I kept it open for you guys to see how much chat GPT I worked on into for today's. I wrote something as like, okay, this is not working. What did I do wrong? Then it would say you were close, but this is the issue. So I have used chat GPT since I'm not an expert on Python. However, I feel now that should not be our limitation. With so much of AI being there are a lot of tools that if I tell this is what I want, or if I've written a code and I don't know where the error is coming, it's not working, AI can help you over there. So use Excel, use Python, use ChatGPT or the similar platforms, and you can easily do all this thing. Okay. Everyone done? Should we move on to the next one? df is a variable, and what this df is holding is your table. Okay, if the PY code is not working in Excel, it's because it is limited to Office 365. So if you have Office 365 version of Excel, then only the PY thing is there. For other versions, they are not introduced yet. Okay, now let's talk about, like I was saying, let's talk about the messy data. It's not a lie when you hear people tell that, okay, analysts spend a lot of time cleaning up the data because people who are creating the data versus analysts are not friends. We don't talk, we don't know what they're doing. We just get upset when we receive the data. So one case that I took, and I told you, I'm taking these cases based on, I've tried, tested a lot of things in Excel. Say, okay, there has to be a way that I don't want to use Python and I should be able to do it in Excel, right? Problem in this data. What is the problem? Number one, dates are text. And these are not easy text. It's 2025 December 2 or September 24, 2025, right? And 24th of September 2025. So the table that you see, the dates are very, very messy dates that are given over here. Now, a lot of people say, no worries. We know what to do. Select the data, go to home, and tell Excel this is date. I did that, but it won't work. The reason is very simple. Dates are numbers. Text cannot be converted to a number just by formatting. Formatting is changing the look and feel, but formatting doesn't mean that you're changing the data type. I can't change the data type, right? So I tried, it didn't work. If I have to write a VBA code, currencies are also different, very good. And if I have to write a VBA code, it's not an easy VBA code also to write, just simply because there is no pattern in the data. Sometimes a year is coming, sometimes a month is coming, then there is a date, then the month, there's a off, lot of variations are there. So to write a code to clean this is a heavy duty VBA code we are talking about, right? So what can we do? Let's see. So I am going to create a column of date over here. Somehow, when I was experimenting, it didn't work with the data frame very well. So without a data frame equal to py, and now we are going to use a library of uh, Python called pandas, right? So we can import it. I've already imported it. How do you import it? Let me open this part on the top. Let's import the library in this cell equal to py. And all you have to write is the word import pandas. That's one of the libraries, very helpful one, as PD. Okay, control enter. And now the library has been imported. Output is not going to be anything because it's just had to import a library. Now, once you've done that, we write py. Now what we're going to use in pandas library, there's a very nice function called toDateTime. What is the work of this particular function is to convert the text into a date time format, right? All I need to do is date time and refer to the cell, one cell of this table. So Excel A8 again, because A8 is a Excel source given to Python. So PD is a library, pandas. ToDateTime is a function that we are applying. We press enter and let me open this. You see, 2nd December 2025. And it's not just on this it's going to work. If I copy paste at the bottom for the rest of them, it cleans it up very, very nicely. I was impressed that how easy it has become to clean the data for me when it's coming in such dirty format, right? And these are all Python outputs. So we can once again say that show in Excel value. And there you go. Nice and clean dates. I work a lot on Power Query. I work a lot on Excel and VBA, but it was phenomenal. I was like, wow, right? Now, the second messy data we're going to deal with is sales. Now, what is the problem with sales? And now we can change the format. Yes, now we can change the format of the date because now it is actually a date sitting in the cell. Now we can change it, right? Now, next thing, can't you use text to column? But Aniket, again, the issue is with text to column, there's no uniformity in the data. Sometimes it's off in the middle, sometimes it's a month in the front, sometimes it's a year in the front, sometimes there are slashes. So honestly, to do this, you will have to have multiple iterations and you have to sort the data so that similar data is together again. It's text, it's very difficult to handle like that, right? So it won't work. Delimiters will not work because what is a delimiter? And it will go in different columns. So it won't work. Okay, now in order to clean my numbers, again, not a tough thing in Excel, definitely not a tough thing in Excel. I just have to do too many steps. I have to find and replace dollar signs. I have to find and replace the rupee sign. And then there are few cells. And this is a very common problem I face in the industry is people don't leave the cells blank, but they have a space in there. Okay. And these space, unfortunately, are the ones which are not visible. And imagine I can't go to each and every cell or create a column with a trim function to get rid of the space. So in order to clean this in one single shot, we have again a simple code that we are going to use. Now, what I'm going to do instead of using that one code in one single way, what is the command of df? Command of df is just df equal to, one second, and let me just show it on this sheet. It's easier. Okay. The command of df is simply df is equal to, think about it as a variable, equal to, and refer the Excel cells. It may be a table, it may not be a table of Excel. Right? Okay. Now, what we are doing is the logic. I keep telling this to everyone. Focus on logic and not focus on your knowledge of what you know and how it can be done. So what am I trying to do? Like I said, in Excel, what I would try to do is do find and replace. So the thought was, is there a function like replace in Python which can do this work for me? And there was. So over here, there is a function called replace. But the beauty of this replace function is that in one replace function, I am able to remove the dollar sign. I am able to remove the spaces. I am able to remove the rupee sign in one command itself. I don't have to do this activity multiple times, right? So over here, you will see that I've named this data as, where is it? Okay, I did not name this data. Control T. I'm going to convert it into a table. Table design. I'm going to call it messy. It is messy. Going to get rid of the banded rows and get rid of any kind of colors and any kind of borders on this. Okay. Now, how are we going to deal with this messy data? So once again, let's do data frame. So equal to py and df equal to this data over here. Again, once again, you can either type in, easier to refer to it. And now the df is referring to messy data, which we have created over here. Control enter, and this is my df now. All right. Now let's try to get sales. So equal to, and the way we do this is we are going to refer to the column because we are cleaning a particular column of sales. The refer the sales column dot replace the function, and then in bracket, in the square bracket, you tell what all you want to replace. Now in front of dollar sign, you see a backslash, and that's the reason because dollar sign has some significance in Python. So if I don't want to use it like the symbol on which it operates, but as a symbol like character, then I have to put a backslash in front of it, right? Now you can put a slash s or you can just leave a blank space. This is to trim the data. So let's get over here and equal to py, and we have Excel starting the bracket. Messy data came up, and in this square bracket, I'm working with sales, square bracket close, dot replace, and in the bracket, again, single quotes, square bracket. In over here, you put whatever you want to make a replacement of. So the first thing was backslash dollar sign, comma, I want to remove the rupee sign also. So I would, one second, let me mute. Okay. And then I want the rupee sign also. So I'll go to insert, go to the symbols, symbol over here, and I have a rupee sign, insert, and close, right? comma, if I just give a space, close the square bracket, close the single quote, and comma. Regex is another something that it works with. It is there in other tools as well. It just helps you to work with various like likes, the common regular expressions, and clean up the data. So what this we are doing over here, we picked a column of sales. We are saying replace what? We gave three things for it to work with, and comma regex equal to true. Control enter. So it's giving me a data frame and show as Excel values. Let me do one thing. A lot of you might be trying to work along and might be a little lost with the. Okay, I'm going to send you this cheat sheet ahead of time. Regis, it's just a regular expression. It's a function, and a lot of tools like Tableau has it, Power BI has it. It's meant for cleanups only or to find similar values, right? So I've sent you this cheat sheet. This has all the codes. And what happened? It did not clean. What did I miss? Replace. This is this. Strange. What did I miss? See? 1 second, going to refer very quickly, replace and regex true.
Ma'am, the numbers are in text. Is there any issue?
The numbers are in text, but find and replace works on the text. What it should have done for me is gotten rid of the symbols. Like it got rid of the symbol with the rupee and the space, but not with the rupee itself and not with the, let's say,
Ma'am, it should be in quotes.
no, it's not supposed to be in quotes over here. But what did I miss? 1 second. See, new to Python. I've done so many times before this webinar, and now I decided it doesn't want to work. Oh, my bad. So replace with what? Logic. Logic went for a toss. Find and replace. This is, I found this, but replace with what? Replace with nothing. Okay. So, okay, let me get rid of all the things I put. So we said this, and blanks, and replace with what? Replace with nothing, and press enter. Please work. And it worked. Got it? So the column dot replace what? Replacement with, and regex equal to true. Over the currency, there's a S. That's not S, that's a rupee symbol. All right. So again, in coding, I've seen, like I said, I've been a coder. I've worked on 3 different platforms, but there are multiple ways of doing things. So when I was stuck in this place, and I asked one of my team members, he had made me put R, and he had made me put slash S for space. But even without that, this works perfectly fine. Now, next, what we want to do is in this particular code, we have removed it, but this is still text. So if I want to do any calculations on top of it, it will not work very nicely for me. So I want to convert it into a float value, and wherever there is a blank, I want to put a 0 over there, right? So like I said, the beauty of Python is that I don't have to do it in multiple steps. I can continue over here, and I can simply put dot, again a replace, and saying if it is empty, replace it with 0, right? As a text, I'll put it, and then dot, then it comes as type. What do you want to store as type? And in this, I'm going to put the float and close the bracket. So what we are doing, we are saying if this empty, replace it with 0, but it's all text. And once you column is complete, then we are saying, okay, make the type as float. Now, why I did this as a float and not as an integer is because in sales, sometimes we do have decimal places. We can have 12.53. So to be on the safer side in future, let's say if there's a data which comes in as in decimals, then this float works. Again, I'm going to press enter, control and enter. And you see, it worked beautifully. So in one single line, we were able to clean the entire thing. This way to get rid of multiple nested if in Excel. Exactly. So you do understand, it's not that it's impossible in Excel because, there were many things like it gave me a suggestion, ChatGPT gave me a suggestion, do pivoting through code. And I'm thinking, pivoting is so simple in Excel. I really don't want to code for it. So that I didn't pick as an example. So a lot of things we can do in Python, but do I really need it in Excel when Excel is capable of a lot of things by itself? So I said, no, pivot is something easy in Excel. Let's leave it the way it is. So this is the way of cleaning the data. And I was really impressed how it cleaned the dates. And I was impressed that instead of doing multiple steps in one step, in one shot, I could clean the entire column. Right? Now, next one is also very nice. Before, it's called melt. Okay, I don't know why they gave the name melt, but it's called melt. Now, what is this melt? So before even Power Query came, a lot of time we had this kind of data given to us. And imagine if you have to put a pivot table on top of it, and you had to compare what's the total of Jan, Feb, March. So this is a data which is not ideal for a pivot table. Why? Because similar information is sitting in three different columns rather than one column. That one column should be the name of the month and the other column should be the sales value. Then it's a table that I can easily use in my pivots. But in the current state, this is not at all a pivot friendly data. So what we used to do, we use a term called unpivoting. So Power Query, it's easy to do it over there. But again, I'm putting my data in the back, bringing my data in the front. It's too many steps. So how do you do unpivoting in Python in Excel? And what it is going to use something called melt. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the code, explain you the code. It's a long code. And then I will come back over here and run it for you. So PD, what is PD? Anybody remembers?
Pandas.
Pandas. So pandas.melt. First thing, it is doing Excel A5 headers. What is this? The data on which you're going to work, right? So reference of the table on which you want to work, comma, ID underscore VARS. What is this? So I have 5 columns. There are going to be few columns which I want to unpivot, but there are few columns I don't want to do anything. I want them to remain as it is. So this ID VARS is a part where you write the name of the columns which you want to not touch. They should not unpivot, right? If I have multiple columns, like I have product and sales rep, I want to both of them to remain as it is. So I can put a comma and in double quotes, write the second column also. Then is VAR underscore name. What do you want to name the column, the new column which will be created? So I said, like I said, I would want a column called month and I would need a column called sales. So the name is month and what are the values? The value name is sales. This is clear? So IDVAR is the place you tell, okay, don't touch this thing. This remains as it is as a column, like they are. This is a product column. Don't touch it. Sales rep, don't touch it. Right? What I'm doing is converting these 3 columns into a single column. What will be the header? Month and the values that will come against it. So A, Sam in Jan should be 100. That column is named as sales. Okay, so I'm going to copy this thing and I've already sent you the PDF to do it. Again, we'll do equal to pi and I'm going to paste this. It seems it didn't get copied. Back equal to pi, paste, And I have to still give properly where my data is. So I'm going to delete this, refer to this data over here, right? So my data, ID VARS, and I don't only want product to remain as it is, I also want sales rep not to be unpivoted. So comma, give another column, comma, the name of the new column, which has the name Jan, Feb, March as month, and 100, 110, 120 as sales, and press Control Enter. So it gives a data frame. Let's convert it into a Excel output. And there you go. So product A, Sam, Jan is 100. Product A, Sam, Jan is Feb is 110. Product A, Sam, March is 120. Now this becomes easier to be used in pivot table. So I can drop months and sales and compare month by sales. I can drop sales rep, month sales and compare sales rep. How much did they make in each month and compare sales rep sales also. So this work that we have done using this library called pandas and in that a function called melt is typically known as unpivoting the data. Okay, so this is unpivoting that we can do again using Python in one single way. One small code is required. And if you know the concept you forgot, tell GPT I want to do unpivoting using Python code in Excel. It'll create this thing for you very easily. Right? Now, next up is where I was talking about VLOOKUPs. So what is the work of VLOOKUP? The work of VLOOKUP is to extract information from one table and bring it and create another table. Okay. Now I have this small table called customer ID and I have got name. So customer ID is 123. Name is Alice, Bob, Charlie. I've got another table called order ID, customer ID, amount. And this is what GPT had given me. But then I was like curious. Let's say if I had two more, then what will then will it work? Does it only pull one column or can it pull all the columns? Because I can do this using VLOOKUP. I am comfortable. I've worked on Excel for so many years. So it's piece of cake. I really don't need to learn new things for it. But if I have to write a VLOOKUP, put my dollar signs, with accuracy and then I copy paste, then I get remaining of the columns, then I copy paste for the rows, then it's too much effort. So is there an easier way to do this work? So over here, we are going to use something called merge. Now let's again understand the syntax for merge first and then we'll do it. So over here, the way merge works, it's again a part of pandas. So pd.merge and then you pick the first table and then you pick the second table. So this is the first table, this is the second table. Now when you do a VLOOKUP, what do we work with? We need a common column, which is our lookup value, which should exist in both the places for it to work, right? So the next argument is what? It is on based on which is your common column. So in these two tables, the common column is customer ID. And then this was very interesting. It says how, and I was like, I don't know what how means. So whatever ChatGPT gave, it gave me left. I tried left, and I saw. So what it did when you say left. So think about this is table on the left. This is the table on the right. This came first, second, left, right, right. Now when we say left, what it did, what was in the left table? This is my left table on the top. It has customer ID and name. So what it did, it retained this customer ID and name and brought information from the other table on order ID and amount. But even though Charlie does not have any order ID or amount, it still retained it. And that is, if I wanted to find out who are the customers who bought and who did not buy, then I need Charlie to be there to get this output. And that's what left did. So it got all the values of your left table and put the values which are common from the right table. So then mind was like, okay, if I do right, what will happen? Now, right is which table? Right is this table. So it has order IDs, it has customer ID. So the way it will work is it will retain everything which is in the right table and put the columns which are matching the table on the right. So what will match on the table on the right is customer ID 1 and 2. Over here, Charlie is customer number 3. So you will see in this table, there is no Charlie. So if I wanted to combine the data in such a way that I'm only working on the customer who bought, then I'll do how equal to right. So it's a work of a VLOOKUP, it's a work of a join using pandas, and I can pick and choose how I want to see. I want the left or I want the right join. Exactly. It's a left join and a right join. Just didn't want to make things more difficult since we are mixing already two things and people somehow are very afraid of the codes, right? So let's try it. Again, you have the codes with you. If you want to just copy paste, play around, it's okay. So pd dot merge, and what it requires is both the tables. So I'm going to pick this table first, comma. I'm going to go ahead, pick the second table and comma. Now it is going to ask for now, oh, sorry, not now, on which column? So in single quotes, the ID. So customer ID and single quotes closed and comma, then comes the part of how, and let's write left in single quotes, quote the bracket close and press enter. Data frame returned. Let's convert it into Excel value. And there you go. Since it's left, that's why Charlie is there. Now, in same thing, if I wanted to write to work other way around, all I have to do is write right over here, too many quotes, and enter. Now I'm getting on the right side. So Charlie is missing because between two customer ID, preferences to keep this and whatever is common comes over here, right? So that's why the names came over here and the order ID, PID and so forth. So in one shot, not only original table only had customer ID name, other table had information of amount, PID, serial numbers, all the information we are able to bring from both the tables. Right? So no dollar signs, no VLOOKUP, no matches, easy work, no copy paste. So that's what, I thought, this is interesting. Merge works well for me. Now, next thing we are talking about is missing value. One thing is that, okay, I'll treat my missing value, but I want to know how many missing values are there. Now, this is a tiny data set. Visually, I'm able to see there are two values which are missing. But when you have lakhs of rows of data set in Excel and you want to understand how many values are missing from each column to even decide, do I treat it or do I discard that column? So what I used to do, I used to make a column on the top and put a count a function on each column and then able to see that, okay, how much it's counting, how much is the highest, what are the missing values, do a calculate of subtracting from the highest to what is the count a of each column. So that made me work on 2-3 rows on the top to understand what is the percentage of missing value and do I treat it or not. Okay, now how do we do it over here? Equal to pi. First thing we are going to do is it's going to work with the data on which you're trying to see how many are the missing values. So whatever is the size of your data, select the entire thing, dot is NA with the bracket and dot sum. What sum is doing for us is it's counting, okay, is NA, it's kind of finding, okay, this is NA, this is NA, this is NA, and sum is doing the sum of every instance that is missing or empty. So the data set that you want to work with, dot is NA is a function that helps you to check whether the cell is empty or not, and dot sum to find the sum of all the empty cells. And let's press enter, control enter, not enter. It has a series. Let's convert it into Excel values. And it's saying name has 0 and score has 2 missing values, right? So it has become
Ma'am,
again, yes. What happened?
can you explain what are you doing here
Yes, what
again?
is going on over here is first thing what we did, this is what? This is our table, correct? Then we are using a function called isNA. What does it do? It checks whether a cell is empty or not, right? Then we are doing dot sum so that however how many cells are empty, it does a sum on top of it and gives me a output, right? So that's what is going on over here. So once it executes, there are 4 records over here. All the 4 records are filled for names, so 0 missing values. And in score, there are 4 records, but 2 cells are empty. So the score has 2 missing values. So these are the name of the columns, and these are the missing values over here. So very easily again, we can find out how many missing values are there. Can we not use count? See, I can use count, but how many missing values are there? That's what I was telling you. How many missing values are there? If I show you what I used to do is, I would do a equal to count A, right? And since it's a large, imagine a larger data set, you would select something like this and say, okay, whatever is the value, and then I will copy paste on the side, right? And then to find how many I'm missing, I'll go, okay, this minus whatever is the, so maximum of this row to say how many are the maximum minus this value. Okay, then comes my dollar sign and okay, and then I copy paste on the right and find 2. But I'm making new rows of data to get this output. I should know what is count, I should know what is max, I should know the dollar signs, then I get it. Versus over here, how much effort did we put? We just said this is my table, is NA dot sum. So right now there are 2 columns. Imagine if I was trying to find it on 30 columns. So this exercise is also then going to be pushed to the right. I have to copy paste and then get it. Right. And then to see a better understanding, I would need like this output, which is the name of the column, how many are the missing value. So again, I have to kind of restructure this output to be able to get that final thing. Right. So it's not, like I said, it's impossible, but it's so easy that why not? Why not choose the more efficient path? Okay. Then to delete the cells.
Name
So what
is
happened,
blank.
Adi?
Output is
Say that again.
name blank होगा तो output क्या आएगा?
If name has one blank, it will be 1.
Output of the Python.
Yeah, it will come as 1. See, score is 2. And if I fill it up, this will become 1 and 1 and 1. So when you see these symbols, it means it's working. 1 and 1. All right. Okay, now next thing what we're going to do is delete of empty cells. Again, you might say, okay, how hard it is, Ishani, to do it in Excel. I agree. But the process, I have to put the auto filters. I have to click on the drop down. I have to go at the bottom where it's written blank, check that, uncheck everything. Then I select my blank cells. Then I have to select all the rows together. And then I have to delete it. And then I have to remove my filter. And then I get my data. Did I say anything wrong? Or is this the path we all follow? Auto filters, select only blanks, delete the rows which came up, unfilter it, and then I get my data. So it's not tough, but too many steps once again. So can I do it faster? There is a function called drop. Okay, what happened to my Excel file? Right. So there is a function called, it's called drop. drop NA. So if you go over here, very simple function. All you have to do is say, okay, this is my table, drop NA dot values. Because if I don't put values, what it kind of creates is, I didn't enjoy it. It puts an index of the row. And I'll show you that, and then we'll come back and see why values was used over here. So equal to pi once again, the header, the table that I have, right? And then draw comma dot drop NA brackets. And I'm not going to put values this time. Enter. Let's open the data frame. Now you see it gave me only the rows, like 2 rows were empty for score. So it deleted that and gave me name and score only, right? Of 2 people. But it also gives this index column. What is everything starts with the 0. So it's had Anna. Anna is row number 0, index 0. Then it has Kara. So this is 0, 1, 2. That's why it gave 2. But honestly, in Excel, I don't want this index. All I'm concerned is give me the table without the cells which are empty. So for that reason, I'd asked GPT, okay, I don't want this. What is this? So it explained this is an index. How do I get rid of it? Use the keyword called values. And then when I put values and press enter, and trust me, I forget to put the bracket so many times. And sometimes I'm confused. I know I don't see error has come. See? If you see my record, I have huge number of practice going on to see what works, why did it work. So I guess there's no bracket over here. Okay, no brackets. So drop NA with the bracket start bracket close dot values, and that's what it is doing is any place where there are empty cells, it's deleting that row. And this I would typically do when I know there's no way I can fill it up. I don't know how to fill the missing values over here, or there are way too many. So I want to discard these rows. So this is the easiest way to do it. It's called drop NA. Okay, then let's say I don't want to drop. I want to fill my empty cells. How do we do it? So I've taken 2 scenarios. Scenario number 1, I've got this table. It's got a date. It's got shipping method. There is package type and there is delivery time. So package type is a text data. Okay. Over here, I can't have mean and median. It's a text. So we use mode. And delivery time is a numerical value. So I can replace it with mean or median. Right? Now, how do we do it? So first thing I've done is I said, okay, let's create a data frame. df is equal to the table. Then find and fill the missing values with mean. What is the syntax for that? So you have to tell which column are you working with, right? So over here, df data frame, which column of the data frame delivery time is equal to the name of the column once again, dot, and this time we are going to use something called fill NA. Fill NA can also be used to fill the value with anything. It could be 0, it could be a hyphen, anything that you want, right? So name of the column equal to df, the name of the column, dot fill NA, and what value, which value. So I want to fill it with the mean of the same column. That's why the name of the column dot mean is coming. So this is the column of my data frame. I want to kind of replace it with a new value. And what is that? This column filled with mean of this column, right? So let's try to apply it over here. So did I leave it there? I guess I left it there. I'll redo it over here. Okay, so equal to pi. And I have named this table as shipping. So df equal to Excel bracket close ship is what I've used. And I'm going to say all, or even easier, let's not do all this writing. Let's just go and select the data. So select the data, press enter. First thing done, my data frame has been created. Okay. Now I don't want to give the output again and again. I want to treat all my columns based on mean, median, mode. And then once all my columns are ready, only then I want to get my output. So in the next line, we are going to use that missing value treatment pi. So if you remember df, the data frame, in square bracket with the single quote, the name of the column. The name of the column is, and you know what I did? If you know me, I don't like to write because I know as humans we make a lot of mistakes. So I copied it so that I don't have to write it, and equal to pi and df square bracket single quote paste single quote square bracket. Then since this is written, copy equal to same column. What we are trying to do over here is replace my existing delivery time hours column with treated delivery hours time, and dot fill NA. Now fill NA is going to ask, what do I fill? If it's empty cell, what do I need to fill it with? What do we want to fill it with? With this column's mean value. So I've selected this dot mean bracket start bracket close for fill NA, and let's press Control and enter. It should give none. That's fine. So the treatment is done. I necessarily don't want to see it right now because I have one more column I have to deal with. And that column is package type. Now this is a text. So over here, we will not use mean, we will use mode. So once again, equal to py df square bracket single quotes name of my column single quotes close square brackets, copy. I want to replace this column with this column filled with what? With this column's mode. So if I don't know how you feel, but I think when I'm explaining, I feel it's English. I'm saying, okay, this is a column, you're replacing this with the mode. So all the syntax starts to make sense that, okay, why did we write it? Or syntax is kind of logically understood by us. This should also return to me none. Now, once I've treated both, or if there were others, if I've treated all of them, now I want my final table to be given. So what you have to do is just say pi and df. That's it. So df is the data frame, but in the data frame, we kept on making the changes. So we are not creating new columns again and again, right? And enter. So now it's returned me a data frame. Let's see the output. And there you go. See, all the missing value treated. And I don't have to work on them again and again and then see the column, create new columns. Nothing like that is there. Right? Very easy and like easy to understand also. And the last part, I know I've gone over time with you guys, but the last part, which I was like, do I really need it? But no harm exploring since we're doing so much. So I asked ChatGPT, okay, give me understanding of the charts, which I can't make in Excel, but I can make it through Python in Excel. So it gave me a lot of things that I can work with, but then, a violent chart, honestly, I'm not never going to make it. Or correlation, this is something I might make it. This is another chart. This is another chart. This is what caught my eye and interest, like WordCloud. Okay, WordCloud is not a specialty of Excel. So let's try to create this thing. So again, there is a lot of code depending on what kind of chart you want to create. And obviously not being coming from a Python background, we might not be able to do it. So I use GPT help to say, okay, I want to create this. How would you create it, right? So somewhere, so if I just tell that I want to create this type of chart, it will give me the entire code. It is that easy. Okay, where did it go? Okay, like for the word cloud, the bullet chart. I really wanted to create a bullet chart. Somehow I was not able to crack where all I was going wrong. But other than that, this is for the word cloud. The first time I created a word cloud with a single code, it didn't work. Then I asked, you know what? I have created the word cloud. This code is just showing me a card, but not an image. So what do I do? So then it gave me the proper code, and all I did was copy paste and changed the things that I wanted to change. Right? So I'm going to do the same thing with you. So I'm going to copy this entire code, go to Excel, and I wanted to see which product is being sold the most using a word cloud. So pasted the entire thing over here. Now, all the things, if you start reading, what it's doing is it's importing few things. Done. Now, step one was to generate the word cloud. So it is telling what is the background and generate, and then df. Df is your data frame. Then it had a name of a column. So this column is the one which I want to use to create a word cloud. So whatever was the text it had given, I had put product. So it's going to pick the product column of DF. And the way word cloud works is anything which has higher frequency has a larger font size. Anything which is in a smaller frequency has a smaller font size. Right? Rest, everything was gibberish to me. Couldn't understand, but I trusted it and pressed enter. Now, what it is going to give you is a small tiny Python error. Oh wow. Why am I getting Python error over here? Access. Okay. I'm going to cut and let's go over here where I have the df created. Let's go over here and paste it. Run it once again. There's no data frame in that sheet. That's why it didn't work. So now that this sheet has a data frame, it has a column of Python, it is showing me at an image, right? So when you right click, you get something called picture in cell. You can see it as a data card, don't know why, and then create a reference, right? So once I click on it, it creates this thing for me. So I know Yanaki, Sunset, Sunspot are the products which are sold the most. Regal didn't sell very well. So very easily, just by copy pasting the code and replacing my columns, I was able to do it. Right? I'll take another example. Then I created this histogram, and it's not, histograms are not a tough thing to do in Excel also, but this is a nice looking histogram, which I typically don't get in Excel, such nicely labeled with a line to see what is the, how is my data? Is it, what do you say that, skewed, or it's a normal distribution, right? So over here, I'm going to pick, this is the only code that is there. SNS, this is a library, and histoplot, which column, and KD is equal to true. That's it. Nothing else is there. So I'm going to go back and same thing, equal to PY, and paste it. I have the data frame in this sheet. Sales has a column over here. This is a library, and enter. Okay, let's convert it. And there you go. My histogram is ready. I know the distribution of my sales. I get more sales in the lower part and less sales in the higher sales value. So like this, there are many things that you can explore on your own using ChatGPT as your helper to make you understand what are the different type of charts you can create. Get the code from there, but obviously read the code to understand which column names you have to move around. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this workshop as much as I enjoyed preparing for it, because there were points when I was preparing, I was like, wow, this is good. And this is me working with Excel and Power Query and VBA code and really appreciating all the things now we can do in Excel over here. So I hope you enjoyed it. Even though if you don't have Excel 365 now to practice, at least you have an idea that this is something which can be done. All right. So you want me to that's great. I also learned a lot while preparing for this workshop, and I'm glad you guys liked it. So hopefully you guys will try to use it. Sachin, you want me to repeat it? Okay, once again. All I did was copy codes from ChatGPT, right? So this code does what? It just creates a histogram. Now, when you create a histogram in Excel also, we select a particular column, and the work of histoplot is just to give us a frequency. Frequency meaning in a particular range, how many sales are happening. So that is what it has plotted over here. Okay, so this is a library, histoplot, the name of the column on which you want to work, and done. All right, have a good night, everyone, and hope to see you next month in some other workshop. Hopefully, we get to know, try to explore more things that we can tell everyone about. Okay, Sagar. Trust me, it takes time, but at least you know something new today, right? And you know it is something that you can easily, it's not tough, but yes, it once you have the tools, once you have the Excel on which you can practice, then you will surely enjoy that. All right, everyone, have a good night. Thank you so much.